Welcome to the Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community. My name is Michael Manatskanian, and my goal here is extremely simple. I want to help you reach financial freedom through real estate, no matter where you're currently starting out right now. As a very quick reminder, a quick background on me, I started with zero real estate while I was on active duty military in 2020. Within a few years, I've been able to build a portfolio worth over $25 million, retire my wife and myself, and now I get to spend most of my time with my family while continuing to grow our investments and help others do the same. But my investing journey almost never happened. Before I bought my first property in 2020, I spent almost 2 full years learning from random podcasts and books and not having what I would define as a clear roadmap on what do I need to do to build a portfolio and actually become financially free. So through all the noise, the distractions, the shiny objects, the lack of clarity, I had paralysis by analysis, which means I spent so much more time learning and analyzing and doing all these things rather than the thing that actually made a difference, developing the right skills or knowledge or owning assets that generated me cash flow. So I had to give myself an ultimatum to pull the trigger on my first investment property. And then that was the light bulb moment that led me to basically building out the entirety of my portfolio. And that is why I'm so adamant about sharing and helping you however I possibly can on your journey to financial freedom as well. I think there is really nothing more important than if you're committed to it, I don't think there's anything more important than developing the financial resources necessary to have full control of your time so that you can do whatever you want with your life. I think it's crazy that we've normalized as a society working literally 40 plus hours a week for the vast majority of our life with no real escape hatch attached to it, right? There's no real clear financial plan that's going to allow you to have full control of your life. And as I mentioned, I do all this for my family. I don't care about fancy watches or cars and all these other material possessions. For me, it's always been about control of my life, control of my time. Well, unless you were born with a silver spoon or won the lottery, you're never going to get full control of your time if you are dependent on others for money. And that is why I've created the Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community to help you no matter where you are starting out, take it step by step, level by level to your eventual goal of becoming financially free through real estate so you no longer have to trade your time for money. This community exists to give you a very clear path, like I said, regardless of where you're starting out. None of this is theory. None of this is random information. These are all components of my journey that I've been able to successfully execute on my path to financial freedom. This is a real roadmap for you to follow step by step. So let's get started with the overall goal. Like I said, everything you do here is focused on one clear outcome: financial freedom. What does that mean? Financial freedom means that your passive income covers all of your expenses. That means you no longer need to trade time for money. In real estate, that comes primarily from cash flow. You buy a property, you make more in income than you spend each month. Whatever is left over is your cash flow. You get to live off of that money. On top of that, real estate provides a lot of tax advantages. So every dollar you make in real estate, you actually get to keep instead of giving up 30 to 50% of that to the IRS in the form of taxes. At the same time as generating cash flow and saving more of your income, right? What helps you become financially free, you're also building massive long-term wealth through real estate. As your properties continue to appreciate in value, they go up in value, and your tenants are paying down your debts, that is building equity for you. That is leading you to build massive wealth while also being financially free through the cash flow and tax advantages. Just to get a very simple example for you, if your goal is $10,000 per month and each property that you are buying produces $1,000 per month, then you will need 10 properties to be financially free. That is the game. What is my overall financial goal? How much money can I make per property? So then how many properties will I need? The next layer of that is how quickly do you want to achieve that goal? But that's the overall game, right? Financial goal, how much are you going to make? How many properties will it take to get that? The full game is own enough cash flowing assets to fully cover your life, to fully cover your expenses. A lot of people that reach out to me, right, who are non-real estate investors ask, why have I chosen real estate as the core option? Because there's lots of assets that you can invest in. You have plenty of options. Like you can just save your way to financial freedom. Well, that doesn't really materialize because you can't really save enough money in a short enough time frame to be financially free. Either you have to be making ridiculous amounts of money because you have nothing growing. Like you need compounding, you need compounding interest to occur. You need that compounded growth. So then why not stocks? Stocks are great because they are passive. You just buy it, you set it, you forget it, but you have literally no control and the returns are lower than what is possible for real estate. Another clear avenue is business. Why not build a business? For me, it takes too long. There's too much risk, and it's not really worth it when there's already a proven, easier to do strategy, which is real estate investing. Real estate investing gives you these three major advantages. There is a much stronger income potential. You get to actually have a lot of control over your asset, right? Where are you going to buy? What property are you going to buy? How are you going to manage it? When do you exit it? And most importantly, the ability to use leverage. Like I said, if you are just saving your way, you're not even getting interest returns. At least with stocks, you're getting interest returns. But what makes real estate even better is leverage. That means that you get to use other people's money. When you buy a property from a bank, you're not putting 100% of the purchase price to buy that property. They are funding a component of that, typically 70 to 80%. Then you learn how to raise money for the remainder. Now you're building your portfolio using little to none of your own money. This is the combination that allows you to scale and achieve your goals in a short enough time frame, right? A lot of you don't want this thing to take 40 plus years. You want to get this done in 10, 5, 3, 2, even 1 year, right? Well, you need to understand it's the combination of strong returns, control of your assets, and leverage that allows that to be possible for you. So the next most important question people ask me is, where do you start? How do you know where you should start in this journey? This is where most people are getting stuck. There is, just like I dealt with, there's just too much information, too many strategies out there, and no clear direction provided to you. So instead of guessing, you start based on what I call your investor profile. If you think of this kind of like a video game, it's your key attributes like of your character. Your investor profile is understanding your financial stats, right? Your income versus your expenses. If you're not making enough money to cover your current expenses, that needs to be your number one priority. Well, if your income is now exceeding your expenses, so you have savings left over, well, then what is your current savings? How much are you saving and what is your current savings balance? Next, how much time do you have available? Are you working a full-time job, a full-time and a part-time job? How many hours a week do you have available? Do you have to dedicate a lot of time to, a lot of family obligations? You have to understand how much time you have available. You have to understand your current experience level, right? Do you have enough knowledge about real estate investing? If you do you know how to find the right deals, structure them, buy them, operate them? What is your current real estate experience level? How many properties do you currently have? Maybe you have none, but you have skills that will translate well to investing. And then whether you want to be in a role where you are more active or you are more passive. The overall long-term goal for everyone is have passive income allow you to be financially free. However, there's a lot of active work involved to growing and scaling a portfolio first and foremost before you can actually translate into the more passive role by hiring and delegating certain roles out. So once you understand your investor profile, your next step becomes extremely clear. So I want to highlight your investor profile is made up of your income versus your expenses, your current savings, how much time you have available that you can dedicate to this, your current experience level, and then whether you want to be more active or passive. So now let's walk through the roadmap. Stage 1 is active income. Like I mentioned just a second ago, if you don't have enough money coming in every single month to cover your expenses, that means you're getting into debt or furthering into debt, right? Like that's not the goal. For you, you should be focused on increasing your active income so that you are making more than you are spending. And then whatever you are saving, you're building that up to start your actual investing journey, right? Not the income, but the investing journey. So if you don't have your active income needs met, or you don't yet have strong enough savings, this is where you start active income. Your goal here, like I said, is very simple. Increase your income, build your savings, and then learn how deals work. The best way to do that, the best way I can guide you and instruct you to do that is to leverage what I offer in the Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community. There's a full active income / bird dog training, AKA getting paid to learn how to find great deals for buyers. So you're getting paid to learn how to find great deals, and you're developing that skill set and building your active income and savings. So then when it's time for you to buy those deals, you've already not only built your financial reserves, but you actually know how to find those deals that you're willing to buy. Why? Because someone else literally paid you for those deals that they wanted to buy, right? You found such great deals, they're willing to pay you more for that to buy it from you. Great. So let's say you've accomplished stage one, right? Your active income needs are met. You've got some savings. You're ready to invest. You have to really decide, once you have that savings, do you want to be more of a passive investor or an active investor? This decision should be based entirely on your investor profile. If you choose to be a passive investor, your role is to provide capital. That means you're going to do a lot less work, and your role is primarily to find people, operators to partner with. Those operators are going to find the deal and run all the operations. They're going to do all the work, and you provide the money. So you earn, you save, and then you provide the capital to an operator. They find the deals and run all the operations, right? I'm an operator. I'm an active investor. I raise money from passive investors, and then I provide them great investment returns. This is a great fit if you have strong income, but you have limited time or experience. This is how you get to benefit without having to do all the work or learn the whole thing and do like all this extra stuff. You get to benefit from the cash flow, the equity, the tax advantages based on being the capital partner. And you get to spend like a tiny amount of time, if virtually any, by being a passive investor. If that is your path, then I've got the passive investing training for you in the Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community, as well as you can fill out my capital partner form. That tells me who you are, what type of investments you're looking to do, how much you have available, how quickly you're looking to invest. And then I get to match the right investment opportunities to you. So if you want to see the types of deals that we are partnering with others on, you have to fill out my capital partner form. And then that will get you locked in to receive all the updates on the new deals that we're acquiring. So that's one batch of investors. The next batch is those that want to be active investors, right? So, and you're basically doing what I'm doing. You're doing everything. You're finding the deals, you're funding them, and you're operating them, right? So passive is, hey, I'm going to earn my money. I earn good income. I want the benefits of real estate, but I don't want to do all the work. Great. Hey, let me find the right operator. Let me partner with that operator, and then we will split the returns together, either co-ownership or a fixed interest rate return, 10+% interest rate return, or co-ownership, literally own these assets together and do none of the work, right? Just choose who you're going to work with. But active investor is you find the deals, you fund them, and you operate those deals. This is great if you want total control. If you want to build all the necessary skills and you have the time needed to put into the business. Understand this takes more time, this takes more work, but the trade-off is you actually get to build the portfolio. You do get the majority of the benefits in this scenario, and you get to grow and scale much more than just passively investing with others. So inside the Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community, there's a dedicated active investing training, basically giving you an outline of the key things. My favorite strategy for investing in real estate is co-living. I give you a full overview on what is co-living investing, right? What does that even mean? How to find those deals, why it's a way more profitable investment strategy, but also how to actually analyze these investment opportunities that are coming to you. If you want a better, full step-by-step system in regards to co-living, that's what my co-living freedom community is for. Inside there, we walk you through how to choose the right investing markets, how to find the right properties, how to analyze those deals, whether you're buying them traditionally, creatively, DSCR loans, however you're acquiring them, how to renovate and set those properties up for massive success, and how to operate them successfully. You also get 4 live calls every single week to help you move forward. Whether you're stuck on deal analysis, multiple live weekly calls for that. Project management, so renovations. Hey, what do you think about this property? How many rooms do you think we can get here? Do you think it makes sense to add another bathroom? What about permits, garage conversions, any local resources, insurance, contractors, whatever, as well as operations? Hey, what do you think about the financing for this? What do you think about like this tenant issue that has come up? I'm setting up my listing, my tenant listing. Can you review this and provide some feedback on it? Every single thing people typically get stuck on you would get access to help you out in your investing journey. I don't want you guys to ever feel stuck. That is why I created the Co-Living Freedom community, to help you have a clear step-by-step process on finding your first or next co-living investment, and then getting all the live support calls you need to never feel stuck. The best part is that one has a payment associated with it, right? It's $197 a month. Don't ever sign up for any education unless you can comfortably afford that. But understand, there is no better value for co-living education than the Co-Living Freedom community. No one else is providing better, more clear step-by-step education. They're not providing the same level of live support calls, and they're all charging you $5, $10, up to $50,000 upfront to learn co-living. I do it at $197 a month. Cancel anytime if you feel like, hey, it's no longer the right fit for me, because I want to help you guys succeed, and you're just helping pay for the team members that are there to live support you guys every single week. So regardless of which path you choose, active investing or passive investing, I want you guys to clearly understand that I'm guiding everyone to my same core strategy. It's what I call the super investor blueprint. It's what's allowed me to scale so massively and so quickly to achieve a ton of results through having a very clear investing strategy. This is what I call the 3 C's. Co-living. So the properties that we're buying are co-living rentals, rent by the room rentals. We're buying a regular house, then renting it out by the room. We're combining that with creative financing so that we get to increase all of our overall returns and be able to grow and scale our portfolio more quickly. And then capital raising. That allows us to eliminate all the the main core bottleneck every single investor has as they're growing and scaling, is they run out of their own money. They need to be able to raise money to buy all the great investment opportunities that are coming their way. So the super investor strategy is built on the 3 C's: co-living, creative finance, capital raising. If you hear me consistently talk about these 3 things, don't be surprised. This is my core strategy. This is exactly what I've done year over year over year, the last several years, to be able to grow and scale my portfolio from literally nothing, no real estate in the beginning of 2020, to over 25 million. I think we're over $30 million portfolio at this point. Why co-living? Like I said, increase your cash flow. Why creative financing? Lower how much money you have to spend to get into deals and get better returns on every single deal. And why capital raising? It allows you to keep growing even after you run out of your own money. That combination is what has been able to allow my massive growth over the last several years. That's why I want to help you guys on your journey in regards to that as well. And not only has it been massive for me, this exact combination is what will allow you to reach your goals even faster, but more importantly, with less properties. The goal isn't to own the most number of properties. The goal is to achieve your financial freedom goals with the fewest possible properties in the least amount of time. That's what this is all catered towards. All right, so we've talked about active income and then deciding, are you going to be a passive investor with your savings or an active investor with your savings? Well, as you gain experience or you build your capital reserves much more, you move into the final stage, what I call super investing. This isn't where you're just passively investing or actively investing with your own savings, but this is actually where you shift from doing deals occasionally to building a real and scalable portfolio. This is where you go from buying maybe 1 or 2 properties to buying 1 or 2 consistently every year, every quarter, even up to every month, like I do within my business. To do that, you need systems across the 3 core areas. Deals, you need a system for generating consistent deal flow and analyzing them effectively. Money, how are you going to fund all those deals? It costs us between $300,000 to $500,000 every month to grow our portfolio at a couple properties a month. And the operations, how are you going to successfully acquire, project manage, and then operate your properties for financial success? I'll be transparent that the most important part of this that unlocks everything else is capital raising. It is dependent on the combination of co-living, creatively financed deals, but capital raising is the number 1 leverage point that allows you to grow and scale regardless of being limited by your own financial resources. Unless you're starting this thing off with a couple $1,000,000, you're probably going to run out of money sooner or later. You're not going to be able to grow and scale as quickly as you want in the timeline that you want to achieve the financial results that you want. You're going to need to develop the skill of capital raising to be able to achieve the portfolio that you want. That's why I have my Super Investors Mastermind community. That is inside of there, I teach you how to raise capital, structure deals as effectively as possible, get a lot more creative in co-living deal flow, and scale your portfolio in an actual repeatable way. This is best for people who are either already own some properties and have at least $20,000 in reserves and savings, or those who are newer to real estate investing, but you're committed to it and you have at least $50,000 ready to invest. So it's not designed for everyone, right? That's why we make the co-living community so low cost to help you get started on your next several deals. But Super Investors is catered towards investors who already have solid experience or already have solid cash reserves. If you have one of those, I can help you unlock your ability to be able to grow and scale more quickly. But you need one, right? You either need some decent real estate experience and some capital reserves, so decent real estate experience and some capital reserves, or a lot of capital reserves and the commitment to grow and scale through real estate. If that sounds like you, I have a whole application process for Super Investors. It's basically a mutual interview. I'm figuring out where you're at in investing journey. Can I actually guide you and provide you exactly what you need to grow and scale the way that you want to? And then for you, you're figuring out, am I the right fit? Is our strategy the right fit for what you're looking for? It's a very straightforward application. Let me understand your current investing profile, and then we just figure out for the right fit for each other. All right, so let's talk about how to use the free Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community. It's all about keeping it simple. Don't try to learn everything at once. I presented a variety of ways and a variety of focus areas that you can execute on. However, it's not about learning everything at one time. It's about learning them sequentially when the time is right for you. What you need to do instead is immediately identify your investor profile. Go to the appropriate training that matches where you currently are based on your investment profile, and then take action on the thing that you need to grow and scale to the next step. Inside the community, you already have access to free trainings, tools and calculators, office hours, and support. Everything you need is in there, and then you decide, is it time for you to level up to something that's the next tier? I don't want anyone who is struggling with active income or doesn't have savings to spend money, even the $197 a month for the co-living community. I don't care how great of a resource that is for you. I don't want you to be cash strapped, get into debt or whatever for any form of education. That's why I provide the active income training series, aka the Bird Dog training series, for free. So you can earn income, develop the skills that you need to build your savings, and then decide if it's time for you to upgrade into the co-living freedom community. If you already have savings, you have your active income needs met, and you're just trying to get better step-by-step education tools and resources in regards to finding your first or next co-living deal, well then great. It makes a ton of sense for you to invest in the co-living freedom community to level up way more quickly than you'd ever be able to independently. Or if you've already got some experience or high enough reserves, maybe consider the Super Investors community for you. I will say that I didn't hit on one of the core areas that is a common situation for the passive investors. There are some passive investors that want to passively invest with me initially because they're doing that to build their portfolio, to develop their experience, all that good stuff, so they can then become active investors. They're using passive investing as the bridge to become an active investor. Well, in reality, joining Super Investors or considering joining that might actually be a much better fit if your goal is to become the active investor in the end, because I can show you how to take that same amount of capital you would have partnered with me on and turn it into your next 3+ deals. So instead of partnering with me and letting us do all the work, you can instead learn the right process to make the most of that same amount of capital and turn it into multiple deals. And you're learning a lot more through the actual ownership and capital raising stuff that I can guide you through. Once again, only level up if it makes sense for you. It never makes sense to level up. You have to get into debt or you're not in a good financially fit place. The only time I really try to filter people from not doing something, I turn away the majority of people that come to me for certain tiers of education, support, whatever, only because I don't want people to be spending money that they don't comfortably have. Like, don't spend money you have to get into debt for. Only invest in your education based on having solid savings in the first place. Ideally, you're earning income through this stuff, and then you are investing it to get to the next level. The whole point of education, the whole reason why it's been so beneficial for my journey and allowed me to accelerate so much more quickly is because I actually implemented it. Most importantly, I was never investing in things because of marketing strategy. Like these guys are so good at marketing and making you feel like you should upgrade for this thing. You should pay for this thing. Your life is going to be like way worse if you don't. That's not my goal here. My goal here is not to persuade you or convince you to invest in something that I offer by adding urgency or persuasion or whatever marketing tactics that they do. What I'm trying to do is help you level up. And when you're in the right position and you want the best possible bang for your buck, the best possible value for where you're at and the next level you're looking to invest, then great. I want to be that resource for you. If that happens and you go through the entire real estate freedom roadmap, starting with earning income, developing your savings through bird dogging, right? Through focus on active income, great. Use that to then level up as in the co-living freedom community, get even better on buying your first or next deal, step-by-step co-living. Like you want all that, great. And then you decide, hey, I want to scale this thing even more as a super investor, right? I want to learn how to raise capital and all that. Great, I'll help you out in there. If that's the eventual goal for you, that is phenomenal. That is literally the overall goal. Whether you like want to work with me throughout that full journey or not, I just want to help you wherever you're at in your investing journey. Some of you guys, based on your investment profile, might go directly to the co-living freedom community. Some of you guys might say, hey, I'm perfectly positioned to make the most of the super investors community. Great. I just want to lay out the roadmap and see if I can help you out as much as possible. And for the majority of you who are not in the place to be investing in education, great. I want to provide you tons of free tools and resources until you can be in the right position to have enough active income, to build your savings so that you can succeed in this journey. So no matter like your overall end goal is financial freedom through real estate, right? That's why you're here. That's why you're following the real estate freedom roadmap. Understand, should you be focusing on active income, passive investing, active investing, or super investing? You have to decide that based on your investment profile. One thing I want to clarify, this might be a little overwhelming because we went through a lot, but you don't need to have everything figured out today. You just need to start in the right place, take the next step, and just stay consistent until it's time to level up. The roadmap works. How do I know? Because this is exactly what I did, right? This is exactly what I did and how I leveled up step by step by step to get to the point that I'm at today. Some of you will never need $20+ million portfolio. Great. You build and grow to the portfolio that you need to be financially free. That's my overall goal for you. But now it's your turn to execute. Start with the trainings that match your investor profile, and then I'll help you move forward from there. With all that, do you guys have any questions about anything? Because we're going to transition this now to an open and live Q&A session. The GBiz said, I hate sales because I have no energy to talk to people for hours to get nothing out of it. My brain can't, I don't even know what that means, but like maybe wholesaling, I don't know. What can I do instead? Well, I was really trying to break down for you guys what are you going to focus on? Because people don't even understand this a lot of times. They don't know what should you focus on in your investing journey. Like if your goal is to build a portfolio that makes you financially free, you have to understand where are you starting at to then like, here's your end goal. Where are you starting at? And then what is the logical steps to get there? I just told you, I laid it out. And then there's more in-depth trainings on each of these like topics, these investing paths, but it's ultimately dependent on where you're at. I can't, with 2,000+ members in the real estate freedom roadmap community, I cannot manually tell every single person what to do, but I want to provide you guys the resource to be able to identify what is your investor profile. I'm going to drop it in the chat so you understand how to determine your investor profile. What are the key things? Here you go, investor profile. The number one thing is understanding. I'll throw it on Instagram too. Your number one thing for your investor profile is where are you at financially? Do you make more money than you spend each month? Great. That should be your first and foremost, like that's your first goal of any type of financial. You can't even worry about financial freedom until your income exceeds your expenses. Because then when your income exceeds your expenses, right, you make more money than you spend, you have savings. Great. So then what is your current savings? How much money do you have available to invest? Based on that, it is very imperative that you then decide what is your investing path. How much time do you have available? What is your current experience level? And whether you want to be active or passive. That helps you understand, should I be a passive investor, right? I bring the capital, I partner with operators who find the deals and operate them, or should I be an active investor? I do all of it. I find the deals, I analyze them, I fund them, I operate them, right? And as you're growing and scaling in that route, then you decide, should I level up? Should I really level up and build a business that is much more scalable, primarily through the 3 C's that I talked about? Co-living investing, creative financing, and then capital raising. Number one being capital raising, because for most active investors, where they stop in their ability to grow and scale is either they run out of money. That's number one. They run out of money to be able to buy all the great investment opportunities, or they run out of time. They haven't developed the right business operations to scalably find deals that they can own and acquire. They haven't built the right business operations so they can focus on the core areas of the business that only they can focus on, only things I can do that no one else can ever do in my business for me, versus what are the things I need to hire and delegate out so that I have enough time to find more great deals, to raise more money with great aligned capital partners so we can continue building this portfolio as much as you want. So most investors are not able to scale because they run out of money or they run out of time, and that's because they're not leveraging effectively. They're not leveraging capital raising. They're not leveraging the right business operations, the right team, the right services to free up their time to focus on the key areas of business they should focus on. They're doing everything and anything, and that is preventing them from actually being able to scale. That's what super investors is for. That's the highest level of what I essentially offer, and that's not for everyone, right? You need to either have solid savings and a commitment to be financially free through real estate. Like, you have to work, so you have to be committed to doing the work. Even if you have the roadmap, you have to commit to doing the work, or you're already an experienced real estate investor and you're just looking to scale through raising capital and all that other stuff, right? Either you have more money and less experience, or more money and less experience, or more experience, more money and less experience, or more experience and less money, right? Wow, that was really hard to say. All right. Let's see. How are you finding people to rent your room? Pad split. Yep. Tower of Consciousness hit the nail on the head. So if you're talking about how am I finding tenants for co-living, pad split and property managers. That's kind of the wrong type of question for a person like me. Why? Because I just talked about super investors. You only have so much time every single day to put towards your investing journey. I can save money in my overall business. I can make more cash flow in my overall business if I did all self-management. If I found all my tenants, communicated with each one, screened them myself, and did all that. That's the dumbest use of my time right now, because my skills have developed so much. My skills are better off finding more great deals and deciding what we're going to buy. So focusing on deals and then raising the money to buy those deals. And then creating the team, creating the system, right, that I offer in Super Investor so that you can grow and scale your portfolio similarly. If I'm spending time and energy communicating with tenants or screening them or whatever, that can be hired out by someone who would dedicate more time and energy to that. They might even be better than I am. And even if they're not, my time and energy is not better spent saving $200-300 a month to property managers. It's better spent finding the next $1,000+ cash flowing co-living rental and then raising the money to buy those deals. Does that make sense? So that's why I have the co-living community. That's why I have our property manager, my asset manager, project manager, renovations, furnishings, operations people, all that in there to provide you the support that you need for more specific questions like that. That's okay early in your investing journey, but that's not going to allow you to grow and scale. That's how I started my investing journey. I got overwhelmed with 27 rentals that I found all the deals, managed them myself, did renovations, did the furnishings, did all this stuff. And I realized, wow, okay, this is actually, I didn't even realize I needed a mentor to quickly assess that I didn't want to grow and scale my portfolio anymore. Why? Because every property I bought was more work that I didn't want to do, more operational work that I didn't enjoy doing. The property management, the renovations, the bookkeeping, that financial tracking. That's not what I enjoy. I enjoy finding great deals, structure them as effective as possible, and then obviously funding them, which is now capital raising for me. So that was the best use of my time, is to give up some of my cash flow to the people to do the best they can in operations while I grow and scale by finding more great deals and raising money for those deals. Does that make sense, Lazarus? Cool. All right, let's see. Okay. Save money, don't make growth, investing markets, but fear. Maybe this is Tamara highlighting what is holding her back. Word too many for sure. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's way too many strategies. Finances, savings, time. Yep. co-living, capital raising, and creative financing, Tamara. That's the 3 C's. If you guys want, I'll drop that in there. If you've been part of my stuff at all, you know that this is a core area of what I focus on. Why? Because all of it intertwines to create an extremely high investment strategy, like extremely high return investment strategy that's scalable and accessible. There's not a ton to learn. You have to learn how to do this stuff, but it's not like the same learning curve as a mobile home park or a large multifamily. It's not very hard to choose a co-living market, to find properties and to renovate and convert them successfully the way that we do within our business, right? Like I'm not trying to do major renovations and things like that. I'm trying to do low cost conversions to maximize my returns with the least amount of time and risk and capital involved to achieve these desired results. That combined with creative financing allows me to get way higher returns, makes the overall portfolio more scalable. I can find lots of these investment opportunities all the time. Literally, there's no shortage of these investment opportunities, these creative co-living investments. And then capital raising allows me to be able to buy as many of those as I choose to, that I feel that we can successfully operate at one given time. All right, let's see. Okay, lots of questions on Instagram. Tamara, if you need to build savings and active income to do something, there's really 2 paths, right? We didn't talk about active income from your job. Some people make 6 figures, earn that money from your job and save it, right? Or do it through real estate. You can do it as a wholesaler, which has a lot of time, effort, and risk that may not ever pan out to any financial benefits for you. Or bird dog, which is developing the right skill to find great investment opportunities from the buyers that you actually want to buy, like you want to learn from and buy, like, while also building your income, building your savings. So one of those things, either make more money in your job if you have a good high income job, or for me, I was in the military, so there was no ability to increase my income. I couldn't legally get another job. So then bird dogging was the right strategy for me to develop the skills to learn from the buyers that I wanted to be more like, and then increase my active income. Just like I tell you guys, do that a handful of times, build your savings, right? Build your active income, therefore your savings, and then decide, hey, I'm going to be the one to buy those deals instead. It's exactly what I did. I don't ever expect a bird dog to work for me forever, at least not the way I'm training people. I expect you to do it as a bridge until you develop the skills and the savings to be able to buy these deals yourself. And now you know that you're finding the right deals, because I was literally paying you to find those deals. I was paying you more money than I would have spent if I found it directly. I was paying you more money to buy the same deal that you could have bought for less money. Does that make sense? All right. Unlimited time, no money, 2 years of experience. Biggest thing right now is my network of lenders and LPs. I want to be active. So what I didn't talk about is another active income source, which is capital connecting. That is basically raising money for proven operators and getting paid for that process. There's a lot of gray area in that, and there's a lot of risk involved because you're raising someone else's money for another operator, which you have no control over that success. You just get paid at the entry. I'm not a huge fan of that, even though I've done some of that. And I'm not a huge fan of that because of the additional risk. And I don't provide education along capital connecting, at least not at this time, because there's a lot more contractual stuff to consider. There's like not just raising money like a lot of people do, helping raise money for operators, and then it all falls apart because they're not partnering with our operator. I've also partnered with others where they were the operator, right? Whether it's me investing my own money or me raising money to partner with another operator, and they fail. Thankfully, I'm still part of the deals, right? So I'm not just connecting capital, I'm still part of the deals. For example, one right now, and I'm taking over all the operations, and the person who failed is getting kicked out. That's the reality of it. Well, if you don't have the skills to successfully do that, or you're no longer part of the investment, you have no ability to protect your capital partners. In my opinion, you all capital partners who have spent a lot of time and energy and effort in earning income and saving it to then partner with others, that needs to be prioritized. You are literally at the tippy top of who should be protected in regards to investing, right? So like not every investment is going to pan out perfectly, but you don't ever want to set capital partners up for failure by bringing them into the absolutely wrong deals or partnering with the wrong people. That is very hard for a capital connector to do. And your incentive structure is designed to get someone who has money to partner with someone who has a deal, regardless of understanding if that deal works or not. That's why I focus more on bird dogs, because at the end of the day, the buyer themselves is the one who's going to bring the money to buy themselves, or they're going to raise the money for those deals, and they have to take extreme ownership of the deals that they're buying. They're not going to just pay a bird dog for deals that are not worth buying. They pay you for successful deals that they want to buy. So I know you have a lot of skills potentially for that, for capital connecting. That's not really my lane right now. We can talk about that for more, exclusive for me or some super investors, right? So you can send me an email and we could talk about that more for that context. But I really don't want to foster what I've seen in other communities where people are teaching how to connect capital and then putting a lot of capital partners at risk for total financial failure. I need a buyer. I'm doing boots on the ground to find the programs. Okay, great. So you're fortunate, Tamara. So in my free real estate freedom, my real estate roadmap community, absolutely free community, not only is there the active income or bird dog training in there, there's a whole thing of how to find the right buyers, how to connect with the co-living freedom community members to bird dog for them, how to connect with super investors to bird dog for them. So it's not only I want to do this strategy and here's how, right? It's, hey, here's the buyers that you can consider working with, consider working for, so that you're actually partnering with people who are doing what you want to do. So you're earning by learning how to find the right deals for the right people. And how do you know they're the right people? Because they're successfully doing the strategy that you want to be doing yourself. Like I said, I'm not training you guys in bird dogging to keep you as a bird dog forever. That's not the goal. The goal is that you're using this as a bridge in your real estate freedom roadmap to then be an either active or passive investor and or a super investor, right? That is the goal, to help you level up, become financially free, which comes through actually owning these assets, not just active income, not just from bird dogging. And being at calls like this and telling people that you want to do it, especially on YouTube. You're on Instagram, so I don't know if you guys can see each other's comments, but being on Instagram, YouTube, right? The live stream on YouTube allows you to connect with other people in the chat live right now, as well as the, so let's see. Let me drop, if you're not part of Real Estate Freedom Roadmap, well, here you go. And it's the first link on every YouTube video. It's literally all the free education tools and resources of what I'm guiding you guys to. Understand the intro that we just went through is basically going to be what I utilize as the new intro for Real Estate Freedom Roadmap, combined with, some slides and all that as well. I just didn't want to, it's very hard for me to live stream and go back and forth with slides. So that's how this will work. Of course, Tamara. All right, let's see. What's another question? How are you finding, we already went through that one. How much are you furnishing your co-living houses? Okay, Courtney, that's a very great question for the Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community to learn from others, as well as being in the co-living freedom. I don't know if I said that right. The Real Estate Freedom Roadmap community, the free one, to connect with other investors, because it's market dependent, and the co-living freedom community to get literally all the tools and resources that we provide for co-living investing. That includes not only the renovation checklist and guide and project estimates and all that, but literally our shopping cart for furnishing our properties. So like, what are we furnishing per room, living room, kitchen, all that stuff? What is the cost per each? Then a very quick calculator to determine how much will it cost you to furnish that whole house based on the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. Those are the kinds of tools that have allowed me to grow and scale much more efficiently and effectively, which is why I provide all that depending on where you're at in your journey, right? With that question, it's really market dependent, because you furnish your co-living rentals. You furnish and you operate your properties relative to market standards of that market. So if I'm in a market that is higher end, I'm in San Diego, I'm in Miami, and people are charging $300+ a week, over $1,200 a month, and every single competitive listing in that market has a mini fridge in the rooms, or a storage unit like locked storage or something, or dedicated parking that's covered, right? Like, you have to understand what's in that market, because you have to offer at least that. Otherwise, you're not competitive. Or if you're in Atlanta and you do a lot of what we do, right? Are my favorite markets, the Atlantas, the Savannahs, the Charlottes, the Denvers, the Dallas, those kinds of markets, right? Those medium tier, my favorite types of markets, where you get thousands of dollars a month in cash flow, as well as build lots of wealth benefits through appreciation, debt pay down, and tax benefits. Then you're going to do what the market standards are. Typically, what we like to do, I mean, there's minimum standards, but typically what we like to do is queen beds with really nice mattresses, a nightstand or two with a headlamp, a desk, not a headlamp, a desk lamp, a desk, a chair, so that people, if space allows, people can work in their rooms if they choose to and have that extra comfort and privacy. Some decor, so it's not totally boring, but it's not overly filled either, so they can add their own flair to it, their own customizations, so they're incentivized to really stay longer. As well as we like full-length mirrors in the rooms too. That's a huge operational cheat code, because if people can only get ready in bathrooms because they don't have a mirror in their room, let alone a full-length mirror, they're going to spend more time in the bathrooms. Well, we're encouraging them to get ready for the most part in their rooms and use the bathroom as they need to. So a full-length mirror allows that to be more possible. That's some of the minimum furnishings that we're putting in rooms, but it's very market dependent. And you're saying the full house, well, it's going to depend on a lot of things. Your common areas, the number of rooms you have, your exterior space, lots of things. I will tell you that our goal in any market that we're operating in is to understand what are the market averages, what are other investors doing, which properties seem to be sitting and which ones seem to be renting faster and or renting for more, and then what separates them. So understand the market average, understand what the worst properties are not doing, what the best properties are doing that allow them to get more income or fill up their rooms faster, and then make that our minimum standard. That's what we do. I'm not trying to be the top 10%, for management. I'm not trying to, there's almost diminishing returns for the amount of effort and money needed to be the top 10%. Your goal is to be within the top 20, 30, 40%, understand the average, and then exceed the average standards. That doesn't always cost a lot of money, but it does cost understanding what you got to dedicate the time to understand your market, and then what are the averages and how do you exceed that? That takes some time and effort, but ends up saving you a ton of time in the long term, saving you a ton of money, increasing your income, decreasing your vacancy, decreasing your turnover, all those financial benefits and operational benefits that comes from understanding your market and then setting your properties up the right way. If you want to know how all that is done literally step by step and get our full checklist with prices and literally hyperlinked products to buy for yours, that's literally what the Co-Living Freedom community includes, and Super Investors includes way more, including that as well, right? So it just depends on where you're at in your journey. Thank you, brother. I'm just really trying to help you all out wherever you're at in your investing journey. I wish more people did that. I think people make it very difficult or very costly because they understand the pressure that people have to try to succeed financially, especially if you're doing it for your family. They're selling you a vision and they're literally monetizing that, where I want you to level up. If you don't have money, don't spend. Earn more income, increase your savings. Then have low cost education options, tools, and resources to get you incredibly high value relative to what you're spending so you can take the next level. As you're growing and scaling, then consider Super Investors to be able to grow and scale your portfolio as effectively as possible, right? There's a progression, there's a journey, but my goal isn't to, if you don't have money, the last thing I want you to do is get into debt or spend money to learn how to make money. I'm just giving you guys all that for free, trying to help you guys do all that. And then as you're buying real estate, you shouldn't be buying real estate unless you have some money. Well, understand investing in some education is the best thing to expedite your experience and your learning curve and to minimize your risks, maximize your returns, right? It just makes things faster, easier, better, all that good stuff, but it costs a little bit of money. Great. Well, that's why I make it way less cost, way higher value than anything else out there in the co-living space. And then for Super Investors, that, like, if you're looking to raise hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars like I've done, well, you better have some money and you better understand you're going to have to be in a smaller group and get more support, live support calls, access to me, the other Super Investors, to then grow and scale collectively together. So it just depends on where you're at. I just try to provide you guys as much value and then provide you guys the resources, tools, and education, depending on where you're at in your overall investing journey. Cool, y'all. Any more final questions that I can try to answer for you guys? Otherwise, I am more than happy to call it and then finalize the slides and then incorporate it into this overall slide deck. Hey, Steve. Hey, friends. Hey, Courtney. Tower of Consciousness. I got to know who you are, my friend. Lisa, hi, my friend. A lot of you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. We've had a lot of people live today, which is awesome. Cool. All right. No questions. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Have a phenomenal rest of your week. I'll see you guys next week. It'll be more of an open office hours, live Q&A type of thing. And then if there's relevant trainings I need to do, I will do that for you all. Courtney asked, is co-living a good option still if you need to do it out of your local area? I would actually advocate for not even worrying about your local area, I would advocate for you to choose the best co-living investment markets where it's already the most successful, the most proven, where there's the most deal flow, where you're going to get really high returns, both cash flow, tax benefits, wealth benefits like appreciation, debt pay down, where you get the best returns and where it's easiest to succeed. Invest in those markets. Don't worry about your backyard. If it happens to also be in your backyard, great, you have a slight competitive advantage. It's not about investing where you are or the way someone taught you 20 years ago or the way that worked for them decades ago. It's about understanding what strategies work today with high interest rates, high housing prices, tariffs, inflation, all this other crap, right? A lot of competition. How do you set yourself apart to get the highest returns and be able to find the most best consistent deal flow opportunities? Well, it's by choosing a strategy that works today and investing in the markets that makes the most sense for that strategy. If you're not doing that, you're setting yourself up for failure. Just understand that. So don't worry about where you live. Worry about what is your core strategy, what markets make the most sense for that, what properties makes the most sense for that, and then execute on that. That's really, we went really deep in that in the recent 3-day co-living challenge. Everyone in the co-living freedom community got access to that. VIP members get lifetime access, as well as the co-living freedom community. And super investors always get lifetime access to that. We went literally deep dove into that. What is co-living? What is the financial freedom roadmap for co-living? How to choose your market, how to choose the right properties and find them, and then how to analyze those deals as effectively as possible, and why creative financing takes everything to the next level when it comes to co-living investing. All right.